All right, guys. So I am making a quick video here to introduce you to the summative project that I've put together for the Muscular System. It is a virtual scrapbook similar to many that you've done in the past, and so you should be pretty familiar with this format by now. And I just want to emphasize that this is a summative assessment. My goal is to determine whether or not you personally understand the content that we're trying to put out here, and I'll certainly provide support for that. And so I'm going to insist that you do your own work here. I don't mind if you collaborate in small groups to discuss answers, to try to get some hints. That collaboration is really important, but ultimately what you put out there should be your own work. And so I'm going to encourage you to make sure you're doing things the right way. This is a great chance for you seniors who are about to go to college to build some really good habits and to embrace this opportunity to learn more about your muscles and how they work. So I'm just going to briefly kind of go through the format here and what I'm expecting. There are a number of slides on each of these assignments. Part 1 is going to be rolled out this week and Part 2 next week. Each assignment is worth 40 points, and each item is worth 2 points. So if you do the math, there are 20 things to answer on each assignment. The first thing you're going to do in every case is to find a picture of a muscle or group of muscles. I'm going to give you a description of what that muscle does, or perhaps where it's located. In one particular case, I'm even going to tell you exactly what that muscle is. In most cases, I won't. And so you're going to need to use your Know Your Joints assignment to help you with that process. In the past, I've been very forgiving about accepting late work because I know this is hard. In this case, if you don't do the Know Your Joints assignment, it's going to be really hard for you to get very much out of this. And there will frankly be some vocabulary that you will not know and I will not tell you because there is an assignment that I have designed specifically to prepare you for this moment. And so if you're watching this video and you haven't done the Know Your Joints assignment, turn it off, go do your Know Your Joints assignment, come back, and we'll talk. So now that you're back, let's talk about this. Again, I want it to be your own work. I don't mind if you collaborate. I certainly don't mind if you ask me questions. I may not give you direct answers, and I'm going to ask you to be patient with that. But I will point you in the right direction. You know that I'm more than happy to help you get to where you need to be. So don't hesitate to reach out with an email. I'm hoping to be back at some point this week, so please feel free to hit me up. Now, when you're looking for these muscles, I want you to try to find actual pictures of muscles. I want you to try not to settle for drawings if you can. In my experience, that was pretty difficult last year. So if you find a diagram that helps you understand where these muscles are and what they do, I would go with that. If you can find pictures of actual muscles, I think they're pretty interesting, especially if you're going to go into some sort of health science field, but by no means is that necessary. The goal is for you to understand where these muscles would be located. And so one thing I'm going to suggest, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, is that you try to perform the motions that I'm asking about and see if you can figure out what muscles get shorter or contract when that motion occurs. Obviously, the onus is on you to make sure I know what I'm looking at. So if you do need to label some muscles, if you do need to point out specific muscles to me, then I've left directions about how to do that. And then there may be some questions, so make sure you read through each slide and make sure that you're answering what you need to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and skip a few ahead here and look at this particular slide here. This is the very first slide, and traditionally, if I'm introducing this in class, I will actually go through this as a class so we make sure that we know what we're talking about. And so I'll do a similar thing here. I'm not actually going to put anything on the slide now, but I'll kind of walk you through the process that you would follow to figure this out. So On this slide, include a photo of the group of muscles that extends the leg at the knee. Now, this little caterpillar space here is meant for an image. So when you find an image, and you can actually, within Google Slides, this isn't terribly reliable, I've found, but if you go to Insert and Image, you can actually search the web and essentially do a Google image search for a given thing. I find that the images aren't terribly reliable when I do that, so it may be useful to have a separate window open to do that image search after you figure out what that muscle is. So that's the important first part. When we talk about the group of muscles that extends the leg at the knee, extension is a straightening of a body part. When we bring bones further apart from each other. And so if I'm extending the leg at the knee, I'm talking about the muscles that contract or get shorter when that motion occurs. And extending the leg at the knee would be like following through on a soccer shot, for example. And the muscles that are going to do that, that are going to straighten the leg when I do that, are the quadriceps muscles. And I kind of gave you a hint here in part B that the group's name, the quadriceps, should be a clue as to how many. So the quadriceps obviously would be a group of 4 muscles. Quadriceps literally means 4 heads. So we're talking about 4 distinct muscles in this case, all of which work together to extend or straighten the leg at the knee. Now, in this case, you're going to need to identify the bone that is the insertion of this muscle group. Now, you'll answer in a previous question a question about origins and insertions. Basically, the origin of a muscle is the more proximal part of that muscle, and it is the part that is immovable. It does not move. And then you are going to identify, well, you're also going to need to know about insertions. The insertion is the more distal part of the more distal attachment point for that muscle. And that part of the muscle is the part that moves. So the origin stays put where it is, it's more proximal, and the insertion, the distal end, is the one that moves. So basically, in this question, you're being asked to figure out where the quadriceps inserts. I actually happen to know quite a bit about this since my quadriceps are not working particularly well and they're very, very weak since my recent surgery. So these are the sorts of questions that you're going to need to be able to answer for each of these slides. I don't think it's anything beyond your ability, but it does, I would say, require consistent work. So those of you who have had trouble getting started, I would challenge you this week to really kind of get off to a good start and chip away at this thing every day. These are designed to be done in the class time that we have. I think if you're working in that time, you should be more than able to finish these assignments. So I'm going to wrap this up here, and I'm probably going to add a few reminders, but this is our work for the next 2 weeks. So as long as you're caught up, as long as you have everything else done, I would encourage you to jump right into this and go ahead and get started. And as always, I will be available whether I'm in the class or not for any questions you might have. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're struggling. Make sure you're doing things the right way and trust that with some work, you can get this stuff done and learn as much as you can about the muscular system. So I hope this is helpful, and I will see you very soon. Thanks. So finally, I want to wrap up this video with a couple pro tips for you that'll really help you get through this project. First of all, I want you to make sure you do the Know Your Joints assignment first. It'll be really helpful. Second, make sure I know what I'm looking at and use labels if you need to. Third, and most importantly, it's okay to share ideas and work together, but not your assignment. Fourth, I want you to confirm your answer by finding 2 to 3 sources that agree. 5, pace yourself. Plan on 1 scrapbook a week. 6th, this is a great learning opportunity, and I really want you to embrace it. And of course, if you get stuck, reach out. Above all, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you soon.